Hello everyone, you are watching Build Remarkable Business, the only show where engineering and creativity are brought together to serve your business. This is your host, Marina. Hey, welcome. Today I want to talk about how to have no guest feel neglected. Is it possible? I believe so. But it's only possible with a certain stuff under control. So with certain standards, as I call them, baseline. So that's what I mean. That's the area on which I have in my mind when I say no guest feel neglected. I don't really cover here, nor I think it's possible, some extra experiences that go above and beyond. But I do think that your baseline experiences and treatment, guest journey in general, should be amazing enough. And this is how to provide that journey to every single guest. So I suggest here just some number of good principles to stick to. And we can start one by one. I have a great drawing as always. I see this as you have different guests. They all have something in common, and that's probably something that connects them and you as well. It's based on your common values and on your unique concept that you communicated clearly, obviously, if that's so. So that you can just simply follow certain principles and you can adjust them for your business as well. But here is what I suggest. First, set rules and apply them each and every time. So you want to have certain standards, consistent standards. But these are not standards considering your guests. It's more like set rules that will make your life easier, that will make your business function easier and your staff to make decisions easier. So for example, if someone asks to have the whole spa, to buy out a spa during the evening, for example, you should have rules that back up that decision. There should be, for example, 2 days of notice, or there is a possibility of only a buyout of a whole hotel, or 2 weeks of notice so that you have time to inform other guests and so on. So it's really going to make your life easier if you set certain rules. It doesn't mean that you will not have your VIP guests, like VIP customers. Your return guests are your VIPs. But we also want that your rate of return guests is very high. So again, that's a significant number if you have them there in the same time, and you want to hit that baseline experience each and every time. So these kinds of rules can only help. Second, one size fits all, adjust but don't indulge. What do I mean by this? I mean that now when you have your ideal customers all at one place, they have some similar common characteristics, and that's why they're coming. We already mentioned that, right? But then you really want to be clear that you give that baseline to everyone. And that is something that you decided it will be the baseline, right? You're not going for something below that. You always want to hit those standards. And you should make that crystal clear to your staff, to everyone in your teams. Because you want all of your guests to experience that. And what do I mean by don't indulge them? Don't indulge them if there are no conditions for it. You want to have those conditions created so that they are applicable even when it's a worst possible moment. So if there is a rush hour, you still want to be able to give all of your guests that baseline experience. And then you can indulge them in some other times, but then you want to be transparent about it. We'll talk about that. So the next one is teach your team genuine hospitality. That means that It's not really something human beings like. We can all tell if you are being fake, if you're pretending, if you're being nice for your own reasons. We can feel it. And I really hope your guests don't like that, and it's not those kinds of guests. Otherwise, your life would be really tough. So learn your stuff to be genuinely hospitable. What does it mean? If there is a problem or with your more difficult guests, encourage them to listen, to tell them it's something they haven't dealt before, but they will try and they will come back to them or something like that. But just without pretending, and don't be nicer to your easygoing guests and then a bit tough with your tougher guests. Then, same communication policy for everyone. This kind of connects to the previous one, and it's really important that you have a tone that everyone in your team embrace. That's the tone of your business as well. You don't want to be super nice with some guests and then don't really care about others. You need to encourage your guests to be hospitable, even though that guest may be making a bit of a tough time for them. Some colleagues of mine call it hospitality intervention, but that's a very handy thing for your team to know how to do. Then use the same protocols. You do have protocols, I hope, for in all departments, right? And use the same protocols. Don't ask one guest for housekeeping preferences and then skip that question for another guest. They will notice and they will feel excluded. Extremely important thing is the ownership of everything that happens in your hotel. So take ownership, even though it may be some miscommunication going on, it may be some problem. It doesn't matter whose fault it is, but just own it. Be there to understand. I once had the situation where the waiter said, I just said that I didn't order it and I ordered something extra, never mind. But the waiter said, but you said this and that. I'm pretty sure you didn't say that. And I kind of already feel accused and very uncomfortable. So that's not something, it doesn't matter who is right, because you're not in a game of who is right. And I'm not saying the customers is always right. No, it doesn't matter who's right. You want to own that situation, to be above it and to lead it. Use the data and use the live data. So you can have the data gathered before the guest comes and understand now, when you have your clear concept, understand what kind of data, what kind of information about your guest you need in order to provide that baseline experience I mentioned, that general impression and boutique experience that you want to create in your unique concept. So think about that data and then think about how you can gather it. Is it before their arrival or during specific times during their stay? And use it to create such kind of things. But then again, use it constantly in a way that you first take care of that baseline experience and then you go above and beyond. And that's usually a more of a dynamical approach where you need to be proactive. But also I encourage you to use the live data, meaning during their stay. Don't be afraid to really genuinely ask them how is something and to receive a bad review, because then you can really do something about it while they are still there, which is very powerful. And a couple of last ones is to be transparent when you are providing some extras. So I mentioned baseline experience and going above and beyond. So be very transparent when you're doing something that's not part of your baseline experience. And why I'm saying this? Because people tend to, embrace it. Once they get it, they want it each and every time. But when you're transparent, they will understand. And even though they're under impression, and they will spread the word, but they will kind of, you will encourage them also to be honest and to say they did something above your expectations, their expectations. So you want to have that clear picture, and when they are spreading the story, you want to have your potential guests also already before they come have clear expectations, and then they can always, we all expect a bit extra, but then it's transparent. And also if some other guest overhears your talk or sees other guest experience, when you're transparent, there is nothing to hide, right? So it's much easier for everyone, and everyone feel comfortable. It's also very important to have clear ethics, and here I especially want to stress tipping policy, which in hospitality, it's always a bit confusing whether you tip or not, which departments and so on. So I encourage you to help your guests by informing them which departments are tipping ones and which are not. Because when your guests will really appreciate this clarification. You can even go a step further. There are some applications that allow tipping on application. So you can encourage that, so they don't have to have cash, depending in which part of the world you are and how common it is to have cash with them. But this is something that will really, it's like a small thing that takes away such a big burden of discomfort, especially for your guests who are happy with the service and you want to concentrate on these ones. And the last one, for now, is learn but don't judge. It has to do a lot with negotiation and communication, and how you train your employees in this area. So it's just a notion here that you should encourage your team to learn about the guests, not for the experiences part, but when there is some situation, to learn, to feel them, to put themselves in guests' shoes and to understand them, instead of judging or, on the other side, pretending to be extra polite or any of these scenarios. So write me in comments if you had some very awkward situation with a guest, and what did you do? You can contact me in the link below if you are ready to create boutique experiences and make your hotel a remarkable one. We can start doing that today.